Test. All right, shows that it's recording. Hey, what's up? This is Amyx, a creative entrepreneur and the founder of the Passionpreneur Academy and the creator of the Passionpreneur Blueprint, where we're training creators all around the world who are authors and their speakers and their trainers and their coaches on how to stand in their power and crush it when it comes to creating programs and getting paid. I want to welcome you to this podcast, to this Skype interview that's called It's Okay to Suck, Epic Ways to Crush It. And I'm real excited because my good friend all the way out from Hollywood, California, Mr. Rod Warren, the Common Sense Money Manager, is with us. And Rod has dedicated his life to reaching out and reaching up and helping people pull them out of their financial hole through things he's learned in business and his personal life. And I have had the pleasure of hanging out with him over the years now. I've been with him in the hood hanging out. I've been with him in Hollywood hanging out. And it's been awesome. It's been epic. So, dude, I am excited to have you here with me today, man.
Hey, AJ, I really do appreciate it, man. I mean, this has been a long time coming. I'm so excited, man, to be able to sit here in this space. For you guys that's new to who Rod Warren is, I mean, for the internet, that's totally a new space for me. So I really, really do appreciate it. I'm on a brand new Mac right now, so I apologize ahead of time if I look down at you or whatever. So want to give you that little heads up, that little caveat. But man, it's an honor. It's an absolute honor and a privilege. And I know we're going to have a phenomenal time.
Sweet. Well, the whole goal of this whole podcast and this series is to kind of help people, show that, okay, look, this is where you were, right? I mean, because here you went from the hood and now you're living in Hollywood and you're one of the top payroll people there in Hollywood and you're one of the top motivational speakers out there in Hollywood. And so I really want to show people, what happened? What was it like when you were sucking, dude? Like when you weren't who you were today? So my first question for you is, when you were in the hood, what were your dreams? What were your dreams growing up, dude?
Man, real simple was to get out the hood. I just looked at a statistic the other day, and it showed in the 75203 zip code that I lived in, 36.5% of the people live below the poverty line. And I'm a living witness, man. I promise you, I am a living witness of how hard work and determination, anyone, no matter your race or your creed, your color, no matter where your upbringing is, you can make it out. But that was my goal. My goal was to not only make it out the hood, but also show people in my community that if you have the right knowledge, the right skill set around the right people, they can make it out as well. So that was my overall goal, just to get my family up out of that community. I mean, it was to grow up around other people who selling drugs, people doing drugs. Some of my family members on drugs, great friends. A lot of my family members and friends have been killed over the years. I just knew there was a better way. I knew there was a way out, and I was determined to make sure that happened, that me and my family was able to get out of that situation.
Gotcha. So what has your journey been like going from the hood and then now being in Hollywood?
I would tell people that it hasn't been, and it hasn't been all peaches and cream. Right. You have this grand old vision to one day do something great, get out of your community, get out of this situation that you're in, but not knowing that, hey, this is going to be a true journey. Mm-hmm. I mean, a real journey to really get yourself out of this situation. And it didn't happen. I mean, I've seen more valleys than I would see peaks. In this journey, that's why I truly believe when people in the pursuit of their dreams or going after their goals or starting their own business, entrepreneur endeavors, that you really, really, really have to understand that it's going to be a journey. It's going to be some long hours, some crying, some things that you never thought you would go through in the pursuit of. But it has been a trying time of really accomplishing this goal and getting to the level of success that I've achieved thus far.
So you talked about these valleys. What did it feel like for you when you were in these valleys?
I'm gonna give you, and not too many people know this part, and we just start, really sharing. A few years back, I found myself in the pursuit of following this dream and forsaking all I find myself, me and my wife, I'm going to give you a real brief, and I get real emotional when I tell it for the simple fact, I found myself digging out of a trash can just to survive. I wanted this dream so bad, but didn't have any knowledge, didn't have any mentors, didn't have anyone around me. So I'm ignorance on fire. And I'm out here in a strange land. Like you said, I'm from Dallas. I'm out here in Hollywood, California, and not knowing anybody. And I found myself, me and my wife, digging in trash cans looking for recycled bottles. People come to my home now and they say, dude, I see you recycle bottle. Every time you see me, I have a bottle of water with me. Well, this all started from this is how I was living. I was living literally day to day, trying to make this dream happen because my wife was working at Warner Brothers, but the cost of living here is so expensive. Well, I knew there was more to just getting a normal 9 to 5. I knew that. But I found myself, AJ, man, digging out of a trash can just to get bottles of water, just so I could have enough money to feed my family, to feed me and my wife, to provide, because I knew there was something out there, but it was a journey. It was a hard journey by not knowing. And I say, it wasn't that I didn't have the drive. It wasn't that I didn't have the power. I didn't have the knowledge. I didn't know what I was doing. I had a drive. I knew there was something I wanted to do. I wanted to be the top motivational speaker. I wanted to be the top guy in finance. But I didn't have a clue on how to bring that to life. And meanwhile, my life started to slip behind. So where I am today is all because of those trials and tribulations. And I linked up with like-minded individuals who helped me share my story. And that turned in from a true rags to riches story. But in the midst of that, man, I mean, it was some trying times to doing that because I didn't have the knowledge.
And how did you stay motivated when here you are digging out of trash cans, recycling to survive, just to supplement your wife's income. How did you stay positive to help move you? Because we know that like attracts like, and if we're not exuding a positive vibration, we're not going to be able to connect with those successful individuals that we need in our surroundings to take us to that next level.
You said something in the very beginning, and now I get the opportunity to share this story with you and from the world, that how grateful I am to have someone like you in my life. It just so happened you're interviewing me, so it's a little different, but it was you. You came to my home at a point of time when I was distraught. I was down and out, and I didn't have anyone around me. Don't forget, I'm the common sense money manager. So it's like, who are you going to tell? Who are you going to, if you're always Mr. Empowerment, if you're always the one that's motivating everyone around you, then who do you share your ups and downs with? Well, that person just so happened to be you. I had you in my life. You came stay with me almost a month. And during that time period, you saw me. You saw a part of Rod the rest of the world didn't see. You saw a part of me that no one got a chance to see me cry. No one else saw me that I was down and out. Man, there was a point in time when that time that you was here, you loaned me $150 so I could keep my cell phone on so that I could stay in contact with my grandparents, with my family members and friends back in Dallas. It was God sent me an angel. I had someone like you who was crazy enough to continue to believe in me. No matter what you saw me go through, you believed. You knew that, hey, you hit a rough patch. Everybody do. It's that I was sent a guardian angel. There's someone in your life right now, and I'm speaking to somebody who's watching. There's someone around you, no matter what you go through, will be in your corner. Somebody will. They're not looking at your bank account. They're not looking at that you may not have on the finest clothes. They're not looking at that, hey, someone is outside about to pick up your car and tow your car off. They're not looking at that. They see where you're about to go. And I just so happen to have someone by the name of AJ Amyx who believed in me. No matter what I looked like at that present time, no matter what I was going through, you still believed in me. So I had you in my life at that present time to keep me motivated and say, man, bump this, whatever we have to do. Your life became my life. Whatever we have to do, you didn't see you paying it. You just saw yourself paying a cell phone bill. You saw investing into someone who just needed a little help at that time. And so I'm real big on circling yourself with like-minded individuals. You have to be around someone because there will be a time where you hit that patch. And if you don't have that person in your life, I guarantee you'll start to tell yourself you're not worthy. You don't deserve it. and you subject to go backwards. You subject to kill the dream and say, you know what, it's not worth it. But I was blessed enough to have someone like you in my life at that present time who was championing me to that next level, to tell me no matter what, continue to keep going forward.
Cool. Thanks for being willing and raw like that, dude. I really appreciate that. Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
One of the things I see people, it's awesome that you are even willing to accept because I wanted to help anybody. And it's what I find in my own journey, because I've been in the same spot you've been in, just at different places in my life. And I've had people that were, I guess, me, but, different, to do the same thing for me. But that wouldn't have happened if you would have let your pride and your ego get in the way. When somebody genuinely wants to experience your highs, but they also genuinely want to experience your lows. And a lot of times, and I found out this the hard way and pushed everybody I knew away from me because I wasn't willing to allow them really within my life to be vulnerable. And this is why I think Jesus was talking about the meek inherit the earth. He wasn't meaning be humble and meek and, I'm not worthy. What he was meaning was, if you're successful, people want to experience your triumph, share. When you're down, allow yourself to pull back the walls and share, because those that are close with you, they want to share in your pains just as much as they want to share in your successes. And so
Absolutely.
I want to thank you for that experience.
Absolutely.
But, but I also want you to talk a little bit about, if you don't mind, what it really means to break down that pride, to allow that next level,
That when you just said that is part of the next level. With pride and with ego, I'm telling anyone that's listening to us tonight, you won't get to that next level. There's no I in team. Your next level is going to depend on other people. And that was the true lesson that I learned from that. Well, I was like, when I asked God, why did I go through that? And why AJ? One, God blessed me with somebody who wouldn't share. No one knows, and you have never told anyone. And the only reason why people are finding out tonight is because I'm sharing it. No one ever even known that. No one. God blessed me with someone who I could trust with that part of my life. And I'm here to tell you, you will not get to that next level without people. You have to break your ego and your pride in order to succeed to that next level. You can look at anyone that's out there that mostly have pride and ego, you will, right behind that, find the fall. It's a guarantee. It's a guarantee that you will find that fall. They will not succeed because it takes people. It takes a team. It takes trust to get to that next level. And that's what I had. I had ego. Like I was telling you one day, that was the first time ever in my life I ever borrowed money from anyone. That was the first time I ever was vulnerable with anyone, with what I was going through in my life, what I was going through with my circumstance and my situation. I had never shared that moment or that type of that experience with anyone, but it broke my ego. It broke my pride. It took everything inside of me to ask you to help me with that situation. And when you're following your dreams, you're gonna have to ask people to follow you. You're gonna have to have people really help you. So there's a lot of dying to self in order to get to that next level. And that was the lesson that I had to learn. That was the reason why I went through that. That, Rod, in order to get this next level, you may need funding for someone. You may need someone help to go down to the store and grab something for you. But I had a lot of ego. I had a lot of pride. I'm an African-American man. I was 30, like at the time I was 30, 35, 36 years old. I accomplished a lot. But guess what? I also said I did that. When all along there was people behind me, but I never gave them credit. It was my talent. It was my gift. It was my treasure that did it. So guess what? In the end, I was left fending for myself too. And I probably burnt a lot of bridges from my ego. There's probably, like you said, there were probably people all along that want to help me. But I'm like, I don't need you. I'm Rod Warren. What I need you for? What I need your little $2 for? Your little $2 can't do anything for me. You see the car I drove up here in? So I was a poster child for ego. And at that moment, it showed me that I wasn't as bad or came along as far as I thought it did by myself. It took a team of people, and it's going to take a team of people to get me to that next level, just like it would do for our listeners tonight.
So we've been talking about your struggles, and you've been awesome sharing those. Tell me about what's been your most significant accomplishment in your career so far.
Wow. I would have to say, man, my first DVD recording of once I bounced back, got back on my feet, because I blew over $500,000 and I was about $300,000 in debt. And once I bounced back, I did a workshop here in L.A., and it was a DVD recording, which is, we coined the War on Debt movement. And we had about 1,000 people show up to this event. And I got the opportunity for 2 straight hours to not only share my story of my windfall and how I failed afterwards, and what I did to get myself out of that situation, and how they could take these tools and take my trials and my tribulation and my expertise and some of the things I teach to the next level. So that was one of the biggest feats, I would say. And then after that, there was a publisher, just so happened to be a book publisher, just so happened to be in the audience. And I met with him after, and now we spun a book deal. And we should have the book released by November. So I can say that's one of the greatest feats, knowing that now I'm able to share my story, and now my mess has now truly become my message.
Mm-hmm. Nice. How did you go? What was kind of your emotional journey going from that low to that success?
Man, it's
like, how did you even get to that place?
By starting to be grateful when someone now bought a book or bought a CD. I valued not only that person entrusted in me, with the information that I was giving them, and they truly believed that it would help them, but knowing that it could all change tomorrow. I done been to this space before, but when I got there, it was so much pride and so much ego. It's almost like, yeah, they better buy a book. Who wouldn't buy a book? Who wouldn't buy a CD? It's me. To being grateful and understanding why it was. I found my why through it all. That was the emotional roller coaster. That it was all about pride, ego. Anybody know me? I'm still flashy. I'm a baller, but I do it on a budget. Mm-hmm. But I was so much. It was so much ego and so much pride that I didn't understand it. But now, going from so low, needing people, to now, I know truly it's a blessing. Regardless if somebody buy a DVD, buy a book, a conversation, like right now, even being interviewed by you, even though you're a good friend, I still see it as an honor. I even pray before we do it, that knowing that if someone watched this, that they will be blessed by it. I didn't take the ego like, hey, I just turned my computer on and talked to AJ. No, because I really want someone to benefit from my story and not have to go down those trials, because that was some long nights. Mm-hmm. And because of my ego, I didn't reach out, which I wind up isolating myself. And then from there, depression starts to kick in, because I was this big time guy. I'm making a lot of money, but now I'm digging out a trash can at 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning in an outfit that I loved. But in order to dig in a trash can, you want to be covered up. So here I am in the trash can with one of my Nike outfits on that I cherish so much that I probably spent like $200 on. Now I'm hanging out of a trash can in it. So that journey it was a long, hard lesson that I had to learn, but I had to. Mm-hmm. So like I said, hopefully someone out there, if you're dealing with pride, you're dealing with ego, you have this big, believe me, Lord, when they say what goes up do come down, I've lived the highs of highs, and I've dealt with the lows of lows. And I promise you, if you find that happy medium, please stay there. Please, because you do not want to have to go through that because of an ego, mm-hmm. because of a pride. But I live with joy now. I don't chase out the things, material things anymore. And I can add to that, just a couple of days ago, we just mailed off the last part of our 501c3 for Empower Our Youth. So now we're not even just waiting for you to turn an adult and find you after the fact. We're going to get to you earlier in life, into the school. So those are some of the accomplishments that I've learned and find out my why it is that I do what I do now. It wasn't just for me. It wasn't for me just to get rich. It was for me to learn something, to go through it, and now educate other people not to go through it. And now we're reaching the youth to do so.
So what's your definition of success then?
Well, success is being a blessing to someone who can't. Being a blessing in areas where people, just for instance, like I said, 36.5% of my people in my community live below the poverty line. Success is going back, like the Bible says, once you're strengthened, go back and strengthen someone else. That's a true definition of success to me now. Before, it was just having a ton of clothes. Like right now, run around with one of these, a Louis Vuitton wallet. Yeah, that's the big thing. That was my thing. I have a ride. Roll around Rolex watches. That was it. But now, it's going back and strengthening people who can't. That's true success. That's true success, giving somebody the tools to be able to live like you. Not standing before everybody and saying, ha, look at me. Don't you wish you could be here? It's going back and teaching people how to fish and how to actually live out the dreams that God has given them, because everyone that's watching this have been given something to be able to change their life. And that's my goal, is to help educate them to be able to do so.
So success to you is giving back. So it's more of a feeling. It's more of this feeling, it's like, oh, I have a feeling. I've accomplished this, so therefore I can help another. So therefore I have a feeling of success. So you're not successful when you make six figures. You're not successful when you put $1 million in the bank. You're not successful when you're driving you're talking about this internal beingness of success, and not this external idea of success.
Your key word, you said I made six figures. I made six figures. I drive a car. I drive a nice car. I live in a nice home. You die tomorrow, what did that do? So I was telling a young lady the other day, this part of my life now, it was about making money. Now it's about being significant, leaving a legacy, reaching back. That's true success. When you can, when they get ready to bury you, you have tons of people around you at your wake, at your funeral, saying that, hey, if it wasn't for he, or if it wasn't for she that's here today, I wouldn't even be where I am. Now I'm living a life of significance, leaving a legacy by empowering other people. So it's not about how much money I can put in the bank. I've been there, done that, and wind up miserable at the end of the day. And guess what? Since I was the only one, AJ, making this type of money, who you think I was hanging out with during the day? Mm-hmm. Nobody. Because everybody else is living below the poverty line. So yeah, I'm the king of the hood. Yeah, I'm the king of my community. But who's benefiting from that outside of me? Nobody. I wasn't even teaching my family members. It was an ego such as where when I come around, everything stops. Everything, slows down for me. That's what I mean by now my life is about significance. My life is about meaning something. Yeah, it's nothing wrong with having finer things. I'm not telling you live your life the way you live your life. Whatever makes you happy, great. If you want a nice house, go ahead. I have a nice home. You want a nice car? Drive a nice car. But at the end of the day, let your life be more than that. And since I'm here in Hollywood, I see that all day long. Materialism, you see that all day long. But how many people are we helping? We have homeless people living up under the world's wealthiest street. You have a homeless man on Rodeo. So that doesn't impress me by having a Louis Vuitton wallet if you haven't blessed somebody. Mm-hmm. That's the reason why we created this nonprofit, so that we can go back into communities and serve other people and serve the greater goal, which is giving back to other people who can't give to themselves.
So, I keep hearing this reoccurring thing of reaching back and empower. How did you come to find clarity in your message? I mean, I know a lot of listeners right now, they're authors or they're speakers or they're coaches and they're trainers. And until they know their message, it's hard to really run to that, to really be significant. So for you, how did you really come to clarity within your message?
Well, I kind of have an advantage because I'm a believer. So, I'm not for sure how many listeners, are following us, but I was raised by my grandparents, and I was raised heavily in the church. And so my backing is a religious backing. Everything that I teach is biblically based because that's the Bible that I was raised on. So my upbringing did that. And in time of loss, I really start to reach out and start seeking God on why do I exist? So I read a book by Rick Warren. It was called The Purpose Driven Life. And in that book, it talks about your purpose. It talks about your why. And then after that, he wrote another pastor of his wrote a book called Shape. And it talks about your spiritual gifts, your heart, your abilities, your personality, and your experience. So I was introduced to that concept through my religious beliefs. But for someone that you may not believe like me, hey, we all, I truly believe we all of God, so no matter who you serve or whatever, it's just in that quiet time and getting around other people who believe like you, getting around other people who's conscious, not materialistic. One of the things that me and you, I learned from AJ, because when I met you, you was a rock star. You was traveling the country, you toured buses. I mean, you was doing it. But it was like both of us met each other at the same time, and you had an ego and I had an ego. So that was great. I mean, guys, if you've known AJ then, like I'm saying, he wasn't arrogant, but he had this arrogant walk about him. It's just like he owned the room, and he knew that. He knew it. He knew wherever he went, he owned it. And if you was in the room with him, I guarantee you, his whole mission to show up somewhere was to own it. So it doesn't matter where he was at. It didn't matter what he was doing. He was going to own it. And through that, seeing your transition, saying, hey, something's funny. And I don't know, like you said, you went back, I think, just speaking to some family members and friends, and they saw how you was becoming. And these are true people that you truly believed in, and they loved you, and they sat you down and told you. And I kind of learned from that experience, because me and you were talking about running around buying Porsches and Lamborghinis and burning rubber and racing down the street. So it was through your transformation, through your aha moment, that I start to reflect, because I value you. I value that we was both almost in the same place. Like I said, we wasn't raised in the same format, but we was raised similar. Mm-hmm. So when you went back home, after you left here and got with your family members and friends and got rooted again around people who loved you, they wasn't hating on you. They saw something different. They saw that you was becoming something other than what they knew you for. I kind of learned from that experience. I kind of learned like, what is it that they're saying? And me and you shared some things that saying, Rod, I'm getting materialistic. Things that matter, all I keep thinking about is money. I'm not thinking about family. Like you said, you kicked everybody to the side. You really did. That's how you came out here for a month. Because you it wasn't that you was trying to do it on purpose. You just kind of moved everybody to the side because you was trying to, in the pursuit of. And then it didn't help being around me, because I kind of echoed it. Yes, let's get all the money. Let's own everything. And we lost track there. Yeah. But going back to our roots, because that's one thing I love about my community. People will keep you humble. They will tell you, hey, I knew you before this. I knew you before you went off to Hollywood and did all that. So just having a good clarity on people around you is kind of what helped me mold to where I am today. But through my religious beliefs and friends like you who kind of say, Rod, there's more to life than what you're doing, that kind of helped me understand and sit back and say, okay, why is it that I exist? What is it that I really want to accomplish out of my life? So those are the two major factors that I had to help me formulate my why, and then asking around through my friends and family.
Awesome. Yeah, and you articulate very well. And I know for me, it was exactly that. Coming back home, getting back to my roots, and then taking a lot of quiet time. And it's not this thing that happens like, okay, I'm going to sit here and meditate. I'm going to figure this out. I'm going to pray, whatever it is for you to get your own quiet time. It was like a 5-month journey for me to really start sinking in and getting back in tune and trying to peel back a lot of those layers. Actually, it was longer than that. If I look at it, it's probably more like 12 months, really. And so, but yeah, you're exactly right. But I remember this one person in my life who's a mentor of mine, and he always said, as you're going, look behind you and see the wake that you're leaving. Is it destroying? Or is it uplifting people? Because if it's destroying people, you need to think about what the hell you're doing. And if it's uplifting people, then continue your walk. So to this day, I always look back, as I'm walking, or not just walking, but as I'm living, trying to sometimes look back and how am I impacting people? Is it negatively? Like, are they seeing me like in a positive manner or in a negative manner? Now, you're always going to have the haters if you're trying to do something good. Now, I'm not talking about, oh, you're no good, you're really assessing. Because when I was in a place of ego, I was not assessing. I was not self-aware at all. I was just going. There was no self-assessment to see what happened yesterday or 2 days ago or what am I even trying to do now. It's just like, here's where I'm going. This is what I want, and I'm going to get it. I am going to crush it. I'm going to kill it, period. But now, I'm like, okay, here's what I want to do. This is my intent. Now, is it pure? Is it loving? Cool. Let's take a step and let's run that way. At the same time in the day, I'll look back. Did it help people? Did it uplift people? Or am I getting feedback that it's destroying people? Because sometimes my intent's good, but if I'm not being aware, I may have said something that hurts someone, but it doesn't mean that I was wrong. It just means now I have the opportunity to come back and then either fix that and say, I didn't mean to hurt you here. This is what I was trying to do. I apologize. Or to say, you know what? I'm really am doing the right thing. I know you don't understand this right now, but this is what I'm doing. But before, I never would have even had that awareness to be in that space. But what has happened for me is it's opened up even more influence upon people because I'm being present with them and I really care about them and not just my own self, you know? So tell me, what are some of your role models that you have that you look up to, like today?
Well, let me tell you, I have role models. A good friend of mine, Mickey Wade, he taught a workshop called Fresh Balance. And what the word fresh stood was finance, relationship, emotions, spiritual, and health. And what I've done is I've tried to find me a mentor in each one of those areas. That's what he says. He really believes it takes to have a full balanced life, like what he called fresh, a real well-rounded life in your finance, in your relationships, in your emotional, spiritual, and your health. And so in my finance, I seek wise counsel. Some of the people that I've followed throughout my years, I have bankers and lawyers here now. So from a financial standpoint, from relationships, I have several pastor friends and I have several married friends people who's been married for years, 20, 30 years, who can sit down with me and my wife and correct me when I'm wrong and correct her when she's wrong. From an emotional standpoint, I rely heavily on my pastor and people who know of us intimately. From a spiritual standpoint, like I said again, from my pastor and from my health, we're doing a little bit better now. I've been going to the doctor quite frequently, so my health. I've been meeting medical professionals to do that. But all the way around, some of my mentors, I would have to say, with the internet, some of them I've never met personally, but I got a lot of mentors, like Tony Robbins is, for instance. Listen to Zig Ziglar. Because I'm a motivational speaker, so that's the reason why some of these people are in the Les Brown, in the speaking career, James Melichek, and from the internet standpoint, I look at people like yourself, who's doing a phenomenal job out there, who's experts in those spaces. But that's what I've done over the years. I kind of keep it. I try not to clutter myself with too many mentors, right? Because especially with this day and age, you have so much stuff coming towards you from so many different ways. I try to find me like I said, 1 to 2 minutes towards in each one of those areas, like I said, in my finance, my relationships, emotional, spiritual, and in my health. Awesome. So that's who some of the people I followed and some of the things I do on a day-to-day basis to keep me motivated.
That's a great idea. I love that. Hey, so looking back on your journey, what were some skills that you were lacking?
It's funny that you said that because I wrote that down. The skills that I was lacking: communication, business foundation, and lastly, marketing. And I would say out of all of those, marketing was the big difference that I didn't know why I wasn't getting ahead. I knew business, knew the foundation, could articulate it, but didn't have an action plan, didn't have a goal, didn't have a clue on what to do day to day. And that's truly getting the word out about my services and what I was providing. Right. So marketing was the key area of getting that out. I have to have my brand. I got my brand together. I know what I want to do. Got my core message. But what good is it if nobody knows you? And I think that's where a lot of entrepreneurs, a lot of authors, a lot of speakers, that is the key area. They have no clue on how to get it from their couch to the world. And that's where I truly believe one of my biggest areas of lacking was that. Nowadays, your traditional marketing like television, radio, newspaper, postcards, and all that, that's great, but there is a new way of marketing now, which is the internet.
Right.
And that is a whole totally different world. And if you don't have the expertise or have someone coaching you or mentor you, or you're paying someone to help you with that, you will get left behind. Mm-hmm. I promise you that. Without having a mentor in that space, you need someone who's been there. I love your new movement that you got going on, Crushing It, because that's exactly what it's going to take. I don't care how many books you've written. I don't care how many products you've done developed at home. Hold on one second. There we go. I don't care how many products you done developed at home. I don't care how many people you think you're going to reach. If you never get it out of your home, mm-hmm. It doesn't matter. And if you don't have the skill set, because right now, internet marketing is mine now, because that's where the world is. It used to be you can meet people, come, do live events or do places, but now the world is at your fingertips. So you need to understand how to market on the internet. You need to learn how to mobile market, how to do over the cell phone. You need to know these things, and those were my three main areas. Was communication, because, like I said, from where I was from, we use a lot of slang, and what I'm talking about. Can you feel me? That's just what we did in my community, mm-hmm. But that didn't work in the business world. Right. So I had to understand how to articulate my vision, getting vision, how to write it down, how to make it plain, and articulate it to anyone that I wanted to either invest into my ideal or follow me in my ideal. So that was one that I can tell you. And then, like I said, business foundation, just understanding how business works, period. The overall goal of business, how business work day to day. And then, like I said, lastly, the key thing right now is strictly marketing, getting the word out, getting it off my couch, like I say, to the world.
Yeah. So I've been, growing up and through this journey, you had to come and learn some skill sets, and you had these highs and you had these lows. And I'm sure a lot of the listeners right now have felt this. I know I felt this way before in my journey, and there's still some days that I still feel like this. Did you ever feel like a fraud or like a fake, when you're out trying to preach the gospel, of your dreams?
Absolutely. Because don't forget, you get so caught up into it's a good thing having a mentor, and it's a bad thing. Mm-hmm. The bad thing about having a mentor, if you don't know your core message, you'll wind up teaching theirs. You'll start saying things and saying you're doing stuff that you haven't gone nowhere near that. And that's the part where you become like a fraud. I wouldn't say it a failure, because, like I said, failure is when you have this message and it doesn't seem to be working. Right. I want people to know you're not failing. You're just finding ways not to do it. You're failing forward. There's nothing wrong with failing. Right. As long as you're failing forward, as long as you don't let it paralyze you or stop you from pursuing the dream or going after the goal. I truly believe you're a failure when you stop. If you recognize that you have a problem, then seek mentorship or get you some wise counsel to help you continue to move forward. But that, you never fail. But the fraud part, yes, I was a fraud because I was out here teaching a message that really wasn't my authentic message. My first bio was Les Brown's bio. Only thing different between Les Brown, his name was Les, last name Brown, my name was Rod, my last name was Warren. All I did was find and replace on his bio. That's all I did. It said, Rod Warren is traveling the world. He's speaking around the world. He's helping people around the country. I haven't even left Dallas yet. I haven't even left my block yet. Nobody even knew I was a motivational speaker. So that was the part that was funny. But I knew where I wanted to go. It's just that you can't live there. I know a lot of people wind up, and going back to what you taught me, is being authentic. The thing about this new world is so many quote-unquote gurus, so many quote-unquote superstars in these areas because they got nice banners, they got nice websites. They have all the aesthetics to look like a guru, but they can't teach you there because they've never been there. Mm-hmm. And so right now, to stay authentic to myself, AJ, I try my best to never take you down a street that I've never been down. That's how I stay authentic and stay core. If I've never done it, because at a time before I literally made six figures, I was telling people I was making six figures. But somehow or another, I could never get my clients those results. Yep. And I couldn't understand why I couldn't get them to get it. It's like I can't preach something that I wasn't doing. I can speak it, but it wasn't taking root. It's just like you go to a pastor. Have you ever went to, like, at church sometimes, or you meet a mentor? They can say something, they got thousands of testimonies, That's what's going to separate the serious from the curious. Like someone like you go up on your website, you have testimonies. Mm-hmm. You have people who's literally used your ideas, use your methods, use your training, use your mentorship, and has gotten themselves great results. That's what I try to do now. I only teach from where I've been. I only teach you something that I've experienced. I had a friend of mine one day, he says, man, you think you can teach me how to make $1 million? Like, no. He's like, why not? You done made a couple of 100,000. I said, yeah, but it's not $1 million. Mm-hmm. That's how authentic I am. Even though I could have took his $5,000 and probably could teach him. But my thing is, I only want to teach people from where I've been. I only want to teach them what I've experienced. That way, you don't have to be a fraud. And then with the internet, you may not want to lie too much for the simple fact people can Google you, they can Yahoo you, they can Yelp you. They're going to find out. Somebody going to expose you. Just like you was talking about earlier, your haters, people who do not like you, they are out there to dismiss everything that you say. They want to discredit everything that you say. So once you start to, if you say you've done it, please be documented. Have testimonies, because somebody out there will expose you, and you do not want to be known across the globe as a fraud.
Mm-hmm. I think what's exciting, though, and I always tell people this, is that their pain is a thing that will get them paid. So like if they're the one trying to teach.
Hey, I may steal it. I just want to let you know in front of everybody. So let y'all know. Hey, I claim it. I'll plagiarize it in a minute. So I just want to let you know in front of the world that if you hear you get your pain can turn into profit. I got that from AJ. I just want to let y'all know that. So you can go ahead, sir.
So you have this idea, like we're working with mentors, that we start preaching their message, like, well, they're making 6 figures, so I'm going to leverage their credibility. And you can do that, but what happens, and because I've tried to do this, not leveraging the credibility, but trying to play the game like you have, because I thought that's the way that you had to do it. And when I got in the midst of creating the programs, I lost confidence in myself, and I lost certainty. And the only thing that produces cash in today's marketplace is clarity in your message, is in confidence within yourself, and your ability to be certain in the results that you're going to get for your clients. Mm-hmm. And if you haven't lived it, then you're not going to be certain, then they're not going to pay you. And the only thing that you can be certain in is your pain. The only reason that I can share people how to use the internet is because I went from a farm boy living in a small little town to creating programs that people actually paid me for. Gotcha. And I have people all around the world that still pay me. So I can't tell people, okay, let's create $1 million program, because I haven't done that yet. But I can say, okay, cool, let's figure out what are you teaching. Let's get clear on that. Then let's create a program, and then let's get you paid. I can do that because that's what I do. And the cool thing is each person, everybody is a guru at something. It doesn't matter if it's riding a bike, if it's making a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. Dude, you're going to laugh at me? I YouTubed how to make a grilled cheese sandwich the other day because I didn't know how to make a grilled cheese sandwich, and I wanted to make a proper grilled cheese sandwich. And by golly, I would have paid somebody probably $4. Not a whole lot, but $4 if they would have had some type of course to show me step by step. I'm just saying. So here's what I'm saying. If you were at this place, which was your prison of, we'll use this grilled cheese, you don't know how to make a grilled cheese sandwich, you're hungry, but you got bread, you got butter, and you got cheese, and you like to make a sandwich in the next 3 minutes, well, guess what? You can experience this paradise, which is having this very scrumptious, buttery-licious grilled cheese sandwich, and here are the steps. So everybody has this pain, which is, I'm hungry, I have the ingredients, I don't know how to do it, let me take you to the paradise, you create a program, outline it, and then you can get paid. So you can use your pain to get paid. That's funny.
And I love that because that's where I told you I turn my mess into my message.
Yep.
And that message I now monetize.
You got it.
So I don't reinvent the wheel. I don't go out there and share stories that I haven't done. And guess what? There's so many people out there just like you. There's somebody right now trying to make a grilled cheese sandwich. So you don't have to reinvent it. You find something that the masses want. Oh my goodness. You answer a question or pain area that's out there, believe me, your pain, you're not the only one that has experienced that, and you're not going to be the only one to experience it. So now, that's what I've done. That is your core message. That's where you would never have to compete with another guru, because guess what? His story, Les Brown's story, It's not my story.
That's right.
So he can't get my story. He can't articulate my story. He haven't lived my story. So no matter where we are on the world, if we put us on the same platform, he's going to share his story and I'm going to share mine. And if you look at the great gurus and the superstars of the world, they're great at sharing their story. They're great at monetizing their story. Do you know, if you look at your gurus and your superstars closely, you'll see they teach the same message over and over and over again. Why? Because there's somebody new. You go to Tony Robbins right now. You go to his event. You're not going to hear anything new. You probably hear one or two things, but 90% of his core message is stuff he's already experienced. Mm-hmm. And that's what I've gotten good at, is getting clarity, because like you said, clarity is everything. If you don't know who you are, it's going to be hard to articulate what you're doing to anyone else. You have to know for a fact so that you're not a jack of all trades and a master of none of them. You have to be clear. If you're not clear, if you listen to this right now, please believe me and AJ know exactly what it is that we're called to do and what it is that we want to do. I remember when AJ says, man, I have found my niche. This is what I'm going to do. And I'm going to put my time, my effort, my resources. I'm going to fly around the country to understand this internet. And he embarked upon it. Right after that, guess what? Here come opportunities to do music again. Here come opportunities to do this. And guess what AJ said? If it's not done in the internet, I don't want to do it. Mm-hmm. That is clarity. He did. He went back and doing internet. It was funny when he was dealing with the band. He had a guy that he was working with, but it was all revolved around spreading his message, spreading his music through the internet, because that was his clarity. That was his core message, and you haven't deviated from it. And that's the reason why I truly believe you're successful in what you do, because there's other things that you're good at, but AJ, me and you have decided that we're going to be great, and then after great comes phenomenal. But you would never reach those levels of success if you're not clear. One day you're this, next day you're that. You have to be clear on what it is that you want out of life, and have that tunnel vision on how to accomplish it.
Mm-hmm. So tell me about this time, because we talked about, some of the times when you sucked, and we talked about what it felt like. But what was that key pivotal point when you went from sucking to actually standing in your truth and crushing it? What was the key to go from that place of sucking to crushing it for you?
Getting a mentor.
Okay. All right.
Getting a mentor. And in business and marketing, like I said, it just so happened you're, and for anyone that's listening to this, I want you to understand this is me trying to help you. It just so happened I'm being interviewed by someone who actually helped me. But this is not to sell you some cheesy program. This is not to say, make AJ the person that you go to. That's not the reason why I did this. It just so happened AJ was that person in my life that I went to who had this knowledge of information that I needed. I knew that I wanted my core message because I didn't have to want to go through the traditional way of building a following, going through door to door, doing live events in local communities, like a church would be, where you have to put all this effort into doing it. So that's when I reached out to you to say, hey, since you're considered one of the greats in the internet marketing space, I want to build a following. How do I build that following? And one of the first things that you taught me was clarity. First of all, before we go anywhere, I have to know my message. And then we started to really promote my message online. You helped me create rodwarren.com. Mm-hmm. You helped me do the branding with that. Then we did rodwarren.tv. You didn't allow me to shoot any cheesy videos. You wanted me to give value. You said, Rod, in order to grow what you're doing, there's a new way of marketing. I'm like, what is that way? You said, Rod, that way is feeding value. So we went on a campaign of feeding value after value after value, giving away products, giving away free information, giving away videos in order to build this tribe that I was now building. But that was the shift. That was the turn from me sucking, you would say, to crushing it by reaching, being authentic, and then finding the people who gravitated to that message and being there consistently in their face, feeding them value.
Awesome. What advice would you give those listening today that would help them crush it? I mean, you've been feeding so much value to them today. I feel like we've covered so much already. But if there's like one little thing you want to leave them with.
I'm going to leave them with three real quick ones. And I want everyone to understand tonight that you deserve it. You deserve to live the dream that you've always envisioned. You deserve it, because at times you're going to feel that you don't deserve it. You're going to feel that why should you live it? I want you to know you deserve it. Every last one of us have been given a gift and a talent that would change our life. And I truly believe that once you tap into that, you will be able to see that not only will it bless you, but it will bless so many other people that's out there that's coming behind you. But I want you to know you deserve it. Whatever it is, you deserve it. If you want to stay at home and live around your home, plant flowers, whatever it is, you deserve to live that life by design. Whatever it is that you see, whatever you've written down, you deserve to live that. Second, if you're lost right now, please stop right now and seek wise counsel. If it's in business, find a business mentor or a coach to help you in that area. You will go in circles and you will probably spend thousands upon thousands of dollars trying to get this advice or find this knowledge that you won't get. So take that time, find you wise counsel. Find someone who can mentor you. Find someone who has an awesome program or something that can help you get to that next level. But my friends, I'm here to tell you, me and AJ and anyone else that's in business, find the common denominator, and I guarantee you will find that common denominator as wise counsel. None of us got to the top by ourselves. None of us got in here overnight, and not one of us tripped our way into success. No, we found a mentor. In order to get to that next level, you're going to need some wise counsel. You're going to need someone to help you get to that next level. Because I guarantee you, in order to go from good to great and from great to phenomenal, there are mentors along the way and coaches who's going to help you get to that next level. And lastly, knowledge without action is useless. Mm-hmm. You can have all the knowledge. You can read all the books. You can go to tons of seminars. You can even get mentors on every different level, like I said, for every level of your life. But if you never do anything with it, it is useless. It is useless. Having all this knowledge. I remember there was a point of time I became a knowledge guru. I was sucking up so much information from all different sorts of places. Going to conferences, going to workshops, $1,000 here, $500 here, $5,000 here. And at the end of the day, wind up at home and still wind up in the same place. If you're going to learn something, this is what I've done in my own life. This is what helped me propel myself to that next level so that I don't have to get stuck there. Take the knowledge that you have and take it and put it to action. Put it to use. If you don't use the knowledge and the information that you're getting, it's useless. So my goal for you and my thing to you and my last nugget is knowledge without action is useless. So I want you to learn it. I want you to do it. And then I want you to go out there and crush it. That's what I would tell you to do.
Cool. Well, hey, I want to thank you, Rod. First of all, I want to thank you so much for being with us today and sharing. I really, really appreciate it. And then to all you guys listeners, I want you guys to go visit rodwarren.com, RODWARREN.com. If you guys want updates for him, hop on his list. He drops some motivational nuggets, so go there, check it out. And until we speak again, my friends, be passionate, be profitable. All right, and